This is WOMMLP operating out of Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator. It is the Rocket Shop. Good evening. I'm your host, Tom Proctor, and with me tonight is LACES. Hello.
Hello.
How are we all doing on this blustery Vermont day?
We're doing great.
Trying to keep our hats on. My hat blew off earlier today.
I mean, I've seen wheelie bins just careen down the roads. Totally. It's been quite entertaining, actually. Well, we always like kicking it off with a song. So, what have you got to start with?
We've got a song called Lardy Fingers that we're gonna start off with here.
When we're alone, and it feels like time is only vapor, so let's clear our minds and try to go home. So when love is said and done, I hope you'll see the sun as it hides behind the shadow.
Lardy Fingers by LACES there. So it's a rare thing to have this many people in the studio. It's even a rarer thing to have everyone with a mic in front of them. So could we just kind of go around from stage left to right and say what your name is and what you play?
Sure, yeah, I'm Eric. I play bass and sing here and there.
I'm Christopher. I play keyboards, but also guitar in a few songs. Not tonight, though, but sometimes play live guitar.
I'm Seamus, and I play the drums pretty much exclusively, but we're branching that out a little bit.
And you have a beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you so much.
We need.
Yeah, I'm Abigail, and I play trombone and guitar, and sometimes I sing a little bit too.
I'm Levi. I play guitar and hop on bass when it's required of me, and they force me to.
You did note down that you are multi-instrumentalist, and obviously you are. Kind of curious about one where Seamus is branching out too.
Well, I play some guitar, and we've got a few guitar songs that we might add to the repertoire eventually.
The premise of the band is originally we all were playing our off instruments.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing.
it's-
This is my primary. The drums is
Right.
my primary instrument, but everybody else is kind of not on their primary instrument, and yeah.
That's quite interesting. So why was it important to you to create a band where you're playing quote unquote your off instruments? And by the way, I love that phrase because I can't play a single instrument. The fact that you guys are all competent enough in your secondary instruments to form a band is quite incredible.
I mean, it kind of came up because we were just messing around like in the basement playing music. You know what I mean? So we kind of just were switching around a lot. At least these guys were switching around a lot, and then we started sort of accidentally writing songs, and then now we have a bunch of awesome, goofy songs.
But it's exciting and inspiring to play your non-dominant instrument too.
Yeah.
Like Eric has a band, Good Morning Gills, shout out. That's amazing.
Oh,
He
yeah.
plays guitar and writes like a lot of the songs for. But I think he's written some songs on bass that like wouldn't have existed had we not put that in his hands. So
I like the idea that you kind of have almost an alter ego band where you all play the correct instruments. Is that the case?
Well, we have an alter ego band called the Broken Yokes, where we all play bluegrass, and none of us play any of these instruments, but we're still not on our primary instrument.
Maybe some disco country.
The rabbit hole just gets deeper and deeper.
Yeah. It took us like probably a year and a half to finally figure out a band name that worked for us, and it was probably gonna write a book about all the band names we discussed.
And then we finally had a band name, and COVID got in the way of ever playing out for a while.
Yes,
so.
but then that brings us to we probably should have been to our band name, which is our first initial of each of our our first letter of each of our names.
See, I suspected something, and the only thing I could kind of piece the whole thing together was Seamus with an S, and I was like, LACES. This all makes sense now.
Yeah. Well, I wrote it in all caps. We don't put the period in between because that's like a little too edgy for us.
That's
So
just
we
too
just
much
do all
punctuation,
caps, so
yeah.
it's like nice and loud when you read it.
Yeah,
Plus,
we
we
but it's-
transcended punctuation.
Levi, Abby, Christopher.
We're lucky to have
Seamus.
two vowels in there.
And it's kind of funny because we all like have different backgrounds of songwriting and like styles of music that we play. So I feel like we kind of all meld together as like laces overlapping, and it's kind of fun because we all write our own different songs, and we're gonna get Seamus to sing his songs too now.
Oh, I love
So
that.
we got
Yeah, I
5
haven't
different
written any
songwriters.
yet, but I'm gonna have to do it soon.
But he's like, he's there.
So to kind of summarize, you're all playing your off instruments. You all play multiple instruments. You all sing and you all write music, and songs themselves. Is that?
We
a
also
good
record
summation?
them sometimes.
And you also record them.
we got okay dance moves too.
Yeah.
Wow, a quadruple threat, a quintuple threat. With so much talent in the room and so many people able to pick up one thing or another, or bring a song forward, or bust out some great dance moves, is it difficult to find the space as individual performers in a band context to kind of like show what you can do, or do you find your space naturally?
I feel like we do. Yeah, I feel like it's like really special to have a place as a musician with like friends that you just genuinely love spending time with, to like bring art that's new to you, that's like of your own creating, to share with other people, and then to like see that reflected back and have them create something that you never would have come up with on your own or help you flesh it out is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's almost very much like a show and tell or something. We're just kind of like bring stuff in, and then none of us take ourselves too seriously when it comes to the stuff, and we write serious songs and everything. But I think we can kind of relax and like let them kind of evolve as they do.
It has been a particularly collaborative band so
Yeah.
far. I mean, in regards to some other groups that I've been in that were, also everybody works together, but like this one is very like organic in that sense.
Yeah, and especially in terms of, because you kind of mentioned that you've all got obviously different influences, are in different bands with very specific genres. What's it like when, say, Seamus, you bring a song in? with kind of very much heavily influenced by your kind of background and style and
Well, actually, I haven't done that yet.
You've not done this.
That's sort of, yeah.
I'm asking the wrong person.
Yeah,
So,
all of these guys. I mean, I've brought a few songs in that we've played, but they aren't like added to our repertoire quite yet.
well, I guess I'll ask the group then for everyone bar Seamus. What's it like bringing in a song that is kind of has your own background, genre, and influences, and then it kind of gets thrown into this mix? How does it feel, and how does it kind of play out when it kind of not get torn apart or whatever, but it does kind of get molded into a different way? How does that feel? Is there ever been any situations where you're like, no, this is how we play this song, and I want it played like this?
I mean, yeah.
That definitely does happen. But I would say most of the songs come like partly formed. We don't have really strict boundaries to things, or like I often just bring a song like I don't have the lyrics yet or something like that. Or even a chorus or something. Like we can come anywhere from like a couple notes to a fully formed song, and like the rest of the band will meet you, which is great.
Yeah, I'm very curious to know what this practice space is like, because you come here tonight with more equipment than we've seen in a while in this space, and again,
It looks a lot like this.
very grateful.
Yeah.
Whose house and whose poor neighbors get subjected to this on a weekly basis?
It's my little 1-bedroom cottage, they call it. It's in the north end here, and it's just like a maybe almost 100 square feet, maybe a little less.
It's definitely smaller than this room.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're about this room, and it's like in between my bedroom and kitchen area, because it's all one big open thing. And we have amps and guitars hanging from the ceiling, and
We're definitely getting
It's a little-
Christopher's business.
I love it. Like I've been having band practices in that place since 2012 or 11.
Yeah,
whatever.
we
So I moved
practice there when you're gone too.
Yeah,
Gone for a couple of weeks,
gone,
so
Is this news to you, Christopher? You're like, oh,
No,
wait,
he'd hang out with us via his Ring camera.
I got my ring camera right now when they're coming over, but
You could sing along.
I love it, but you got to keep it on, keep it tidy. And the big thing is just cleaning up the cords. Like when I look down on the ground here and it's just like a rat's nest. It's like that's what like eats out your brain a little bit. So it's like
If you're gonna
get
clean
in the habit of
nothing
like
else,
after
just
each
stick the
practice,
cords
like
out.
clean up the cords, put away the mic stands, like we did.
You need to recruit a few of our big heady wheel
Exactly,
technicians
right.
to help out. They get these cords fixed up like
Yeah, if we
in
could
2
get some
minutes after a
interns over
show.
to Chris's house, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's cozy.
How did the person with the smallest house end up getting designated as the practice spot?
That is a good question.
It's a stone house. It's got thick stone walls.
It's its own house. I live
So
by
it's,
myself. I
you
have
can be
no
loud.
Upstairs or downstairs neighbors. My next door neighbors are like my good friends.
And the
they
people
play
over the
music as
fence
well,
don't complain. So.
No one over there seems to complain. So we can be loud if we want, with the windows open in the summer, or in the winter when no one is outside. Winter's closed. No one really seems to care too much. And we're not a crazy loud band. Sometimes we'll turn it up to 11, but that's only when we're goofing off on a Saturday or something.
Was that something intentional when you first started? And I'll kind of get to the origins of the band in a moment. But when you first started, was that kind of an intention that you were going to be chill? I mean, that first song you played, it was lively. It was interesting. I really enjoyed it. But it was relaxed. I could listen to that while working. Is that an intention when you kind of brought the band together? That this is the sort of music we're playing, or did that just kind of naturally happen?
I'd say that was a natural thing. Yeah, I mean, like we didn't, like I said earlier, a lot of these songs just sort of came up organically. We'd be hanging out playing kind of just like free form things, and then like find a little bit that we liked and record that. Like a bunch of the first songs started that sort of way, and so there was no. I guess it is like just an extension of ourselves in that sense. Where like we didn't plan it at all, and this is just sort of the stuff that came out. I mean, there were also some songs that were written by some of these guys like years before. For other groups that were adapted for us too, so we kind of just like morphed into this sound. Yeah,
I really like that whole ideology as a band. just FYI, I am very curious about how you formed. Obviously, you've all got musical backgrounds, all got different other bands you play in. You keep talking like you've been friends for years. So yeah, what's the LACES origin story?
A lot of us went to St. Lawrence University together over in New York. And yeah, so 4 out of the 5 of us went to college together. 3 out of the 5 of us knew each other at college. And Christopher, who went to UVM, Groovy UV.
Sorry.
we met through St. Lawrence connection. We had a band out in California where we all met in Mammoth Lakes, California, called the Rising Sun Dogs, and so we played together out there. Came back, linked up with some other slew buddies, and in a basement.
Yes, it started in your basement. Yeah.
And that's LACES.
So, just happy coincidence that 4 out of the 5 of you went to the same university, 2 of you went to California, then came back, and then all found yourselves back in Burlington? Is
I
there
mean,
like
I
a-
also lived in California, but completely separate of them.
There's a magnetism, I guess.
Is there a large community of St. Lawrence alumni kicking around in Burlington?
In Burlington,
yeah, definitely, yeah.
They find each other.
This is where we come see shows.
Oh, okay.
From school, yeah.
Alright.
There's not a lot going on in Canton, New York. I'm not gonna lie.
Believe it or not.
I wouldn't know. I don't think I've
Don't
ever
bother
been.
learning.
Java Barn,
Yeah, go to the Java Barn.
The Java
That place
Barn is an
dope.
amazing music venue that the school has that definitely gave us all opportunities to play there, too, in college, too. So shout out to Java Barn.
Yeah.
Oh, we certainly need those spaces.
Yes, we do.
Right.
Big shout out to Swan Dojo, who I feel is
Mm-hmm.
kind of occupying that space until it sadly is no more anymore. But yeah, I feel we need
Yeah.
more spaces like that in Burlington that maybe aren't just Radio
Definitely.
Bean and Nectar's.
Well, thank you for
Right.
providing that space here.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, totally.
This is sweet.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I get a free show every single week from a new group of artists. Talking of which, I'd love to hear a second song. So what you got?
Totally. Yeah, this song is called Some Moments. And it's a song I wrote, maybe about a year ago. And yeah, it's, Burlington inspired. And yeah, it goes like this. Ready?
Some moments they stick for us to go back to 'em like I'm leaning, or back on the chair on the porch as cool as can be, like the beer in his hand. When I know something could be wrong with me, you're kinda telling me, or maybe, well, we're back on the chair on the porch as cool as can be, we're breathing the same air. Well, I know you care about me. At least have the decency to tell me you wanna be free. Well, the summer sun, it hits you harder when it's pushing 90 degrees. When the moonlight hour, you're laying next to me, as close as can be. And I know something could be wrong with me, you're kind of telling me, or maybe, oh, well, we're back on the chair on the porch as cool as can be. Breathing the same air. Well, I know you all about me. You at least have the decency to tell me you wanna be free.
just did with that trombone. I don't think I've really heard something like that before. What was going on there?
Oh, we got a little flanger. We got a little, just some delay. Kind of fun. That was like a new thing with this band. Was actually I was starting to learn how to play guitar, and Levi was like, "Oh man, like you could totally put your horn through those same pedals," and we just kind of played around with it, and we were all like, "Oh, that's pretty
Sounds
cool on that
sick.
song."
Yeah, that sounds really good. Do you do this on other songs? Or is it kind of like, okay, this is a song where the trombone goes weird?
You know, I like to put like a little reverb on, a little delay. I kind of think of like my horn almost like another like sort of vocal part sometimes. Like I feel like playing a horn is a lot like singing. Shout out to David Myers, my middle school band teacher, who told me that. It's the reason I'm still playing trombone. But yeah, I feel like it's like kind of fun to think about a horn in a way that's different from just like a, high energy kind of stabbing part in songs, which is super fun too. I mean, that's, I think, such a great sound, but it can also, I think, have warmth, and I love that about trombone.
Yeah, it's rare that you see someone on brass that can play it in a soft manner that's kind of fitting for like maybe a setting like this. I remember we had a band called Diggs in, and they had a trumpet and a trombone, and we had to get them to stand in a different room to play because it was just too chaotic and too loud with them being there. So it was very impressive to have that kind of breath control.
I mean, that sounds pretty awesome.
We could have that standing outside if you want. You can just go ham. Christopher, I kind of want to dig into that song a little bit because you said it was Burlington inspired. Tell us a little bit more about that. How did this song come about?
Yeah, it was just it was inspired by a relationship I had a couple summers ago, and I don't know, actually, this person I was in a relationship had, she gave me this poem that had the first, the lyrics of the first verse in there. So I used that, and she says, it could be a fun song. I'm like, all right. So I started off with that, some moments they stick for us to go, back to, and just talk about me like leaning on the porch drinking a beer or something in Burlington in the hot summer. And then the second verse about the summer sun, it's just like hits you hard when it's like already 90 degrees out and the sun's out, and like I've been starting to get into the farming scene, so that's kind of what made me think of that. The second verse is just like out there, just like in the summer heat, but then like at night it's like nice and cool again.
I miss it, man. I
miss it. I know.
I want the sun to bake me right now. I dream of just being on a beach or outside in the Burlington field, just getting cooked.
Right.
In moments
it's
like
crazy,
this.
the temperature differential we
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
So,
It's coming tomorrow.
but yeah, I mean, most of my songs are all kind of inspired about a love I had, a relationship, usually.
As so many songs in this world are.
It's hard for me to say that they're not, So that's where, you find your emotion comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where your strongest emotions emanate from, and if you're going to write about something, surely the stronger emotions you have are probably the better ones to write about.
It can be therapeutic,
Yeah.
Or also frustrating.
Well, that kind of brings me on to my next question, because you kind of mentioned that, I mean, you all play in different bands, and I'm sure you've been playing in bands for many years, and you said that you sometimes take songs from bands you've previously been with, songs you've previously written, and then kind of put them into the LACES machine, and then they get spat out. How does, for someone who has done this, how does that feel, kind of, one, having a song that was maybe very different the first time you kind of played it with this other band, which is an entirely different memory, an entirely different time, being played by LACES today, as you are in this present moment. And then, secondly, kind of how does it feel playing these songs that are rooted in a moment which is in a person that really isn't you anymore? Because, as you said, these songs really come from emotional points, and it's difficult to hold on to all of those emotions forever. I'm glad we don't. But it must be kind of interesting, kind of bringing that back and then kind of putting it into this new space.
Playing with new people kind of breathes new life into them somehow, too, though. Just...
Yeah, like watching the movie with like, oh, you haven't seen this movie? Like, want to watch it together?
Yeah.
It's like even better now. That you
and someone might have a new idea. It's just kind of fun. Reinterpret them somehow.
Totally. Yeah, just, I consider my songwriting to be a little more like somber, mellow songs, a little more melancholy, where, Levi has more of like a I don't know. You have I just think of you like a
Happy-go-lucky
Grateful
kinda.
Dead background where it's a little more. You put up more like a. Major,
I don't know how to
positive-
write minor songs.
Positive melody. Yeah, exactly.
It's a minor
He doesn't write minor songs.
Levi, is that
1, 2, 3,
reflective?
4.
Levi, is that reflective of your personality, or is
Yes.
that it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they all
is-
comes out.
This is my personality.
No.
Whatever that is.
That had some depth to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could swim in that.
it's not basic.
Because often I speak to, and I don't know if any other musicians kind of, or musicians in this band kind of feel the same way. Often I speak to people who are either very kind of bubbly and out there and extroverted, and then they play their songs and it's very melancholy and introspective and really heavy, and then vice versa. I can speak to someone who just played a really fun ditty that I want to go dance around with, and then the rest of the interview they're talking about some really tragic things that happened in their life. So is anyone in the band kind of had that juxtaposition where you kind of write the things that you don't usually kind of display yourself in your everyday life?
I feel like something that has been striking to me, seeing, Christopher, I feel like is someone who, I've been playing his songs for a long time now, and it's kind of cool to see people evolve, and your friendship, I think, kind of, grows, too, as you get more comfortable sharing your art with each other, and, sometimes you're like, oh, I wonder if I know what that song is about, probably with, many people in your life, friends, your partner, whatever. But I feel like that's the beauty of a space like this, is that you get to bring it and nobody asks any questions. But you're all kind of there for each other.
I was gonna say, are your band practices like group therapy sessions, but without the questions?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just all right, let's play the next song.
I would say our band practices are pretty fun. I don't know how much fun other bands have, but I would say that on the scale of 1 to fun, we're pretty high on the fun scale.
It's really hard to focus and practice 4 songs only. We play a song and then we'd be like, all right, now we can goof off for up to twice as long as that song was, and then we're back. We got to focus again.
I like you give yourselves a little permission to have a break.
Treat.
Yeah.
Break out into a lot of spontaneous jams too, which every once in a while yields
love
a
that.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're just-
well.
We're just doing this for fun. It's great. We have day jobs
Yeah, I think
that we're gonna keep, and hopefully. And so we just want to play for people who want to hear it and play music that makes us happy.
Yeah, we love playing house parties and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
the more makeshift the venue is, I think the better. I enjoy playing it. Instead of playing in a, I love playing Nectars or Radio Beam and stuff like that. But I love a good basement show or a outdoor.
It's a different energy.
Yeah, exactly. Different energy.
What is it between the two what is the different energy? Why is it you're more gravitated towards these kind of DIY spaces and maybe something that's been established for a while?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just you have more control over your own appearance and your own settings and your own sound, which can be frustrating also because you don't have you have to do your own sound, which we've done many shows.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of work.
So you have to
Usually a DIY
make sure
setting
the
is a
PA
lot
is
of work.
working and the mixing.
But that makes it very intentional. So anyone who's there and involved,
Yeah.
it was an inconvenient thing to haul that speaker there, so they're gonna stay and
True.
see it out
Yeah,
and watch
that's
the
true.
band. Yeah.
It's a sunk
I was
cost
also thinking
fallacy
it's
at that point.
just
Right.
it's fun to set up
Yeah.
a house party for music. You know what I mean? Going through that process is a satisfying thing to design the space for that sort of event.
Well, I was going to say the only time I've seen you all play was in the back of my house for Halloween.
I remember that.
Where you all dressed up as various different animals, which I enjoyed immensely. And from what I remember of that show, you guys rocked it.
I had a good time.
Yeah, we had a
That
great
was
time.
really
Thanks for
fun.
having us.
I think I had a good time. I've been told I had a good time.
Yeah, you had a good time.
I did at one point get onto the dance floor with a machete in my hand. Apparently, that
Well, I
clearly
mean, to
plays
be
out.
fair, your costume was a murderous butcher.
It was.
so-
I was.
Right.
Yeah.
I was in character.
Yeah.
Method acting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear another song. So, what you guys got?
I'm gonna sing a song called Evangeline. Ready? you lied, Evangeline. How I wish you never ever said goodbye. Never ever said goodbye. Never ever said never ever said goodbye. Evangeline, one sweet, sweet July. Evangeline, how I wish you never ever said goodbye. Never ever said goodbye. Never ever said goodbye. Never ever said good. Never ever said good. Never ever said goodbye.
Evangeline there by Laces. Very Grateful Dead, actually. Yeah, I can definitely see the
Thanks.
the straight connection there. So it seems like you're all good friends, which is always nice to see in a band. And you kind of mentioned before how COVID slightly got in the way of maybe the first iteration of Laces. Obviously, we're 2 years plus into this
I
pandemic
think
at
we were
this
actually
point.
still called Growl Tiger at that point.
Growl Tiger.
That was not a.
We went through a lot
Not,
of.
yeah.
I can
Okay,
see
names.
that as a tattoo on someone's arm
Yeah.
with like a, you know, one of the
Yeah.
1950s styles tigers. As musicians, especially in different bands, maybe some bands that take themselves a bit more seriously, how has this been for you in terms of getting through the pandemic, and how is playing music anyway, just in general, for the past 2 years been in comparison to what it was like before? That's a big question. If anyone wants to
Well, I
tackle that.
mean, playing out is a lot less common. Like, you know, obviously we're not gathering in big groups as much. I mean, people still do it. You know, there's still shows happening at Higher Ground and stuff. I'm not going to say I haven't been to some of them, etc. So that is still there, but like a lot of the small venues around here haven't been around. Like Radio Bean's been closed for a long time, that sort of thing. So a lot of those shows aren't happening. But I mean, in terms of having music as a thing to get me through the pandemic, I mean, playing music like this is one of the things that just gets me through life in general. So it was very helpful during the pandemic, and I was super glad that we actually still had a place that we could play together, because we had a basement up on Blodgett Street that we were able to like keep getting together in. I mean, we took a break for a while. It's kind of the
Yeah, a
chronology is
couple
not really
times.
worth like going through, but like we took a break for a while and we eased back into it after it felt safe again, and because like none of us could keep away from it for too long. It's just too much fun.
It's a bit of a drug.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess.
Talking-
Saying I have a problem, Tom?
Not with music.
I can
Seamus,
quit
not
any
with
time I
music.
want, man.
Oh, I mentioned anything else. I actually think one of those Higher Ground concerts, I ended up giving you COVID, or at least the rest of the household.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to out you, but, you know, you certainly played an instrumental part in that, pun intended.
Yeah, Shaky Graves, big shout out. It was a good gig though.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Worth the COVID.
yeah. It was a couple of shows worth of transference, but that's just the way that it goes, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to a show, just wear a mask,
It-
you know?
Yep.
I should have.
Learned my
I got
lesson.
COVID because I didn't.
Learned my lesson on that one as well. Yeah, so, but being more of a DIY band, less about the Radio Beans and the Nexus of the world, is this really impacted you in any kind of material other than maybe slightly less basement shows in the winter.
Well, I mean, one of our first shows playing publicly was going to be at our friend Steve's house on March 28th, 2020, and that was like a week after the lockdowns went down, and so like we were getting all amped to finally play, because we had an hour's worth of music.
Like, we finally have a
let's go do
set
that.
together.
Yeah, and then, you know, the lockdowns came down. We were still kind of like, well, maybe we should do it, maybe we shouldn't do it. And by the time, you know, eventually it was like, obviously, that we shouldn't be gathering in a basement. And they're like specifically telling us not to. So it was very disappointing.
So we would happily play Nectar's and Radio Bean if they're listening.
Yeah, just
side note,
we'll
it's
also
hard
do
to-
Higher Ground, Shelburne Museum, give us a call.
Memorial
Laces.
Auditorium, that we can open that up.
Yeah, booking is lacesvt@gmail.com. Just send us a message anytime.
But it's a hard time to start.
That's
start
also
a
our
band.
Instagram account, by the way. Just gonna plug them both. At the
So,
same time.
I mean, I can only imagine how long it must have taken you with the sound, the way your practice sessions sound. I can only imagine how hard it was to get enough songs together to play a full set.
It was actually pretty easy.
Oh,
We kind of like
fair enough.
accidentally realized that we had an hour's worth of music. And we were like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well, let's like refine it.
You know,
'Cause, you know-
each of us
Go
brought
ahead.
like 3 or 4 songs, you know, and then we're like, you know, we're up to like 10 songs, 9, 10 songs, and then we're like, well, and then we started writing some songs, you know, ourselves in between us. So, you know, I feel like, or turning some of our like, you know, jams or our fun little ditties into actual songs, which there was a lot of those.
One of the benefits of COVID is we pretty much just got to unpack any idea. We had
Right.
plenty
Yeah,
of
that's
time
true.
to just write. And we probably built up a pretty good arsenal.
Yeah,
of
we
stuff
got like
at this point.
25 original songs now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we only
And
played
the
have to
like
whiteboard,
choose what to play.
the whiteboard to draw off of.
Well, that's a good point. With so many different musicians that all basically write their own songs, is there sometimes a case of, okay, we've actually got too many here? What gets
Definitely,
jettisoned?
yeah. We all got to choose one for tonight.
Is it like Sophie's Choice when you do go to a gig, but instead of having
That's
to
a
pick
pretty fun choice
one out
to
of
make.
2?
making set lists is pretty fun.
Yeah.
You get to kind of like plan the trajectory
definitely dropped a
of the
few.
sound.
But then you can always bring them back.
Yep.
You know.
Do you all get designated
list.
like everyone gets one and then there's like a wild card, or is it a crapshoot in terms of? You know?
I think it's more like just trying to think about the momentum of a set and like the ebbs and flows. Like you try to follow like the W shapes. Like start high, bring it down a little bit, come up high in the middle,
Or
go down, and then bring it right back up for the end.
we played at the Junk Teak's birthday party. Super fun, 20th birthday party.
Yep.
And we followed the Bubs, which we love the
Oh,
Bubs.
the Bubs.
But you can't play any slow songs after the Bubs right away.
Yeah, you gotta-
So you know you
come out
gotta
swinging.
you gotta structure it for the setting and
Yeah, they're hard act to follow anyway.
You gotta bring
thankfully
the
they-
crowd down slowly.
Exactly,
You can't
yeah,
go
yeah.
cold turkey on them.
Well, it was actually
Yeah,
pretty lucky because
de-escalate
they
slowly.
set that show up in a nice way. They like had this interlude that was this very like somber.
yes.
I forget exactly what it was,
It's a
but
mock funeral.
yeah, it was a mock funeral. So it was like very quiet for a while, and
Totally.
everybody it totally reset the vibe. And we were
Yeah,
like,
like,
oh,
very
okay, like
emotive.
we're not.
That's true.
Now we can follow the Bubs.
Forgot about the mock funeral. Yeah.
And we're
How
like,
could- how could
we're
you
kind of
forget?
goofy. We're just here to play you some songs.
So in terms of future gigs, obviously we are still right in the middle of winter, and we will be for the next 6 months because this is Vermont. But have you got what you got coming up in the near future?
We actually don't have anything coming up.
Tell us.
that soon.
I think we tentatively we're looking at an April. I think it's April 29th. Hopefully at the Radio Bean, if you know, next apocalypse pending. But that's the hope with some other really great bands that we're like flattered and excited to be part of playing with.
As soon as it gets warm enough, and that doesn't have to be that warmer temperature, I think we're gonna have to open up our back garden again and do a little welcome to spring party. So I'd love
Sounds
to have
good
you
to me.
there.
Yeah, Tom, you
We're
let
also
us know
probably
when.
gonna play a little party out at my house in Richmond at some point.
Narwhal Fest.
I did
Narfest.
have a question. Narwhal Fest, great
Yeah.
name. Does anyone here also thought it was a mythical beast until quite late
The
in
whole
their life?
Yeah,
Levi?
definitely. We got a whole song about it, in fact.
Oh, you
Yeah.
have a whole
We-
song about it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
called,
Yeah,
it's called Do You Believe in Narwhals?
Annie, who was sitting next to me, actually had this conversation the other day. I think we're both in our 20s before we figured out that
likewise.
narwhals were...
I started the hashtag for this event, actually, on Instagram. Do you believe in narwhals? And it's amazingly the first post. So you can use it now. It's out there.
That's all my Twitter feed will be from now on, is just asking people their position and age they learned about narwhals. I love that a lot. We've got about time for one more song, but before you take us away on that last journey, is there anything that you would like to promote if you're not maybe playing gigs concretely at the moment? Is there any kind of place we can listen to your music or anything?
No, we don't actually have anything online yet. We're working on that, but I'd like, we'll have that stuff up soon. If you follow LACES VT on Instagram, that's where we'll start posting things. You can always just send us an email and be like, hey, can you send me some audio files to listen to? It's lacesvt@gmail.com. We'll probably just send you some of the, unreleased tracks.
Drop you some on Google Drive.
We do regularly record our practices onto a tape cassette, and so if you want to get into our super close fan base, maybe we'll send you some of those or something.
Yeah, you send us a tape and we'll send you a tape back.
I think it should be even more inaccessible. I think you should just hide these tapes around Vermont in very hard to reach places, and then be like, if you really, really like our band, then you're just gonna have to find
a tape player. Some speakers.
One buried at the top of Camel's Hump.
Come on, everybody's got tape players these days.
Another one at the bottom of Lake Champlain. Well, I've really appreciated having you guys in. Really looking forward to hearing this last song.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having us, Tom.
Of course, and we need to set up a party so you guys can play again in our back garden.
Oh yeah.
So we got left to close out with.
This is a song called Summer Rain.
Drove to the mountain state.
out there with Summer Rain. Guys, thanks once again for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Whenever you happen to get an album out in 10 or 15 years' time, please come back on the show. That's great.
I don't know. Could be less than that.
Or get a website, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, well, nobody
great
buy
idea.
the domain LACES VT.
We need a manager.
All right, well, that's all we've got time for tonight. You join us next week when we're going to have Joe Adler in. But for now, this has been WOMMLP out of Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator. It's been The Rocket Shop. I've been your host, Tom Proctor, and good night.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much.